Members, because we still have a number of pages, can we agree to proceed? Issue number 2.
The issue number 2, Chair, is about the human resource audit. Again, is the question I'm sure we'll be answering in the subsequent question the Senate sent to us. If we will allow, we'll answer it then. Yes. That is it, Chair. We go to the second question. Also.
Yeah, let's proceed to question number 2.
Right.
There's a little bit of disturbance. Sounds like a cat is running around. Did anyone come to this meeting with a pet?
Chair, the Senate attorney is dealing with that issue shortly.
Okay, yeah. Let's proceed to Governor Arati.
Chair, on question number 2, the quantum of end losses arising from allegation of payment fraud as flagged by the Auditor General since financial year 2013 to 2014. Our response, there were no payroll fraud flagged by the Auditor General during this period, Chair. There weren't. Question number 3, Chair, whether the county carried out any special audit of its payroll, and if so, what the recommendation arising from the audit. Audits were and the status of implementation of the recommendation. The management response, at the time of writing this letter, Chair, special human resource audit was going on. The findings of the exercise would form the basis of management decision of the new government regards to human resources. 2.
Point of order, Chair.
Senator Cherokee.
Yes.
In one of the answers, Governor Arati, you have said the county government is currently conducting human resource audit with a view of identifying issues and taking appropriate action. That is in November 2022 to January 2023. You are saying in question number 3, at the time of writing this letter, special audit resource was going on. So which is the correct answer? I thought it was concluded in January 2023.
Thank you, Chair. This question will be answered again in the subsequent question on the progress of that audit.
But be careful, Governor, every question will be answered in the next answer.
Chair, if it will not be answered, it will definitely take me back.
Okay, I think this letter is dated 9th of January.
9th January.
But there was some supplementary questions
April.
which we'll probably deal with to see what transpired since then.
Yes.
The other point, yes, the other point that I wanted Honorable Cherargei to get, the first audit was done when Governor Ngwai was in office. The second one is being done after Governor Simba comes into office.
But this is November 2022. I thought we had
That is the second one.
Was there were late elections in Kisii?
No, that is the second audit.
Chair, again, I want to say that the first report, I don't know where it is.
Okay.
Unless anybody else knows where it is, he can be able to bring it. But the one that I could be carry is the one which I've carried out.
Okay.
That's the one which
Chair.
is recorded again.
Honorable Chair, could I please come here? Governor has just given us an answer. The quantum of any losses arising from allegations of payroll fraud as flagged by the Auditor General since financial year 2013-2014 shows that there were no payroll frauds. Where did you get the answer from if you're saying there were no payroll fraud and you're saying you didn't see this report?
Okay, so that's back to question number 2. Yes, Governor.
Chair. If you read carefully there, Chair, there were no payroll fraud flagged by the Auditor General. Chair, that's what I say.
But there was an audit.
Audit by the Auditor General, yes. But there were no audit fraud detected by themselves.
And Smiley confirmed that.
Okay. Auditor General, were there specific issues raised by the Auditor General? Quantifiable? Beyond the policy issues?
Yes, Chair. There were a number of issues we had raised which pointed out to red flags of payroll manipulation. One of the issues was shared payroll numbers. The other issue was shared ID numbers, tax and bank accounts. Therefore, that triggered that there is a problem And that's why we had recommended for a payroll audit then.
Okay, I think, Governor, you did very well in summarizing the policy recommendations under number 1. Number 2, if there was no payroll fraud, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Indeed, the Auditor General has those specific recommendations that point to payroll fraud. And I don't think that it would be admissible that there was no payroll fraud flagged by the OAG. They are present. They've cited the specific instances. But members, you don't need to, it's not a big matter for debate, because subsequent questions should help us understand what the government is doing to close those risks and gaps identified by the Office of the Auditor General. So unless there's information or a question on number 2, we can move to number 3. Okay.
Again, Chair, for us, just the question that Honorable Nyonga asked, it's that it could be answered in question number 3.
Okay, so let's deal with it. Let's go back to where we were before the intervention by Senator Cherarkei.
Whether the county carried out any special audit of its payroll, and if so, what the recommendation arising from the auditors were and the status of implementation of the recommendations. Management, 1. Of course, I've just read that, number 1. Number 2, the National Treasury. Now that's where the question of the Auditor General comes in, that the National Treasury carried out a special audit of the payroll for the national and the county governments, covering the period of January 2016 and the 30th September 2021. The audit was aimed at assessing adherence to financial and administrative procedure in conformity with the rules and regulations, as well as compliance with its internal control system. The raw payroll data used for the audit was obtained from the State Department for Public Service, IPPD section. The recommendation from the review of the payroll of the county government of Kisii were: A, the county to take administrative action against employees who were drawing salaries from both national and the county government. B, investigate and act on cases of employees sharing personal details such as payroll numbers, national identification card, tax pins, and bank accounts. C, investigate and act on cases of employees whose birth dates were amended. D, investigate and act on cases of unauthorized person and employees editing their own records. E, conduct regular payroll cleansing. F, undertake monthly payroll audit before processing the payroll. And G, strengthening access control and management of password to guard the payroll from non-designated users. Attached in the Annex 1, a copy of the letter from the Ministry of Public Service communicating the findings of special payroll audit and recommendation for the action. Is the Annex 1A is there. This is the communication, and it shows the exact numbers of what I've read out, Chair. B, response of the county government to the various issues raised by special audit of the payroll. Now that's if you check B, that's where my government must have responded to all issues raised by the Auditor General, Chair.
So the special audit was carried out for the period 1st January 2016 and 30th September 2021. When was the audit carried out? So that's a period of audit. But what's the actual date of the audit?
No, this is the report by the National Treasury, which carried out that audit again.
I'm struggling to, because Annex 1A is to the County Secretary, County Government of Kisii. It's dated 1st September 2022.
On the findings of the audit they carried out 2016 to 30th September 2021.
Even though, Governor, you just mentioned that if there was another audit, you are not aware of it. But now we have a letter here that points to an audit.
On specifics,
Yes.
years of these sharing, one sharing of IDs, bank accounts, same.
And if indeed these were the findings, how would you then say there was no payroll fraud? If you have 24 cases of shared bank accounts, 92 cases of officers with the same ID numbers,
192.
192 cases, 1,029 cases of duplicated arrears payment.
You see,
Isn't that what you define as payroll fraud?
query, which response was given again to Treasury, which in Annex B.
1B.
1B.
Annex?
Annex 1B. So is that response which my people give out?
So in Annex 1B, you have disputed those revelations by the National Treasury?
That is it.
All of them have been disputed. Which would then mean that there is no problem in Kisii.